somewhere in a locked vault in Rome, there's a book no one is allowed to read. Not because it's dangerous, not because it's fake, but because no one on earth knows what language it's written in. And that's just number 5. Imagine spending your entire life trying to decode a single sentence and dying without ever cracking it. That's not fiction. That's what happened to some of the world's greatest cryptographers, linguists, and historians. Real people, real manuscripts, real obsession. We're talking about ancient texts that have survived wars, fires, empires, and the fall of entire civilizations, only to sit in museums and archives, silently laughing at every scientist who dares to open them. Some of these manuscripts describe medicines that don't exist, stars we haven't discovered yet, maps of places that shouldn't have been known. And the worst part? A few of them were almost decoded. Almost. These aren't myths. These aren't legends. Every single manuscript in this video is real, sitting in a real location, studied by real experts, who all walked away with more questions than answers. 5 ancient manuscripts, 5 unsolved mysteries, 5 pieces of history that were never supposed to survive. And trust me, number 5 might change the way you think about human history forever. Number 1, the Voynich manuscript, the book that broke the internet, 500 years early. In 1912, a rare book dealer named Wilfrid Voynich made a discovery that would haunt scholars for over a century. He found a book, old, strange, unsettling, written in a language nobody had ever seen before. The pages were filled with bizarre illustrations, naked women bathing in green liquid, unknown plants with roots shaped like human bodies, astronomical diagrams of stars that don't match any known constellation. It looked like someone's fever dream, except it was perfectly organized. The text flows left to right. It has structure, grammar patterns, rhythm. This isn't random scribbling. Someone wrote this with purpose, with intention, with secrets they clearly didn't want just anyone to read. Here's where it gets dark. The world's top codebreakers, including experts who cracked Nazi codes during World War II, took one look at the Voynich manuscript and gave up. The CIA studied it, gave up. The NSA studied it, gave up. Even modern AI and machine learning algorithms have failed to decode a single confirmed sentence. Carbon dating places the manuscript between 1404 and 1438. So whoever wrote this lived over 600 years ago. No computer, no internet, no encryption software, just quill, ink, and a mind that was apparently centuries ahead of everyone else. Some researchers believe it's a lost herbal medicine guide. Others say it's a map to somewhere we haven't found yet. And a few believe it was written by someone who wasn't entirely from here. We still don't know. And somehow, that's the scariest part. Number 2, the Rohonk Codex, the book that an entire nation tried to forget. In 1838, a mysterious book was donated to the Hungarian Academy of Sciences. Nobody knew where it came from, nobody knew who wrote it, and nobody, to this day, knows what it says. The Rohonk Codex contains nearly 450 pages of dense, flowing text accompanied by hundreds of illustrations, battles, religious symbols, landscapes, figures kneeling before something enormous. It tells a story no living human can read. The writing moves right to left, then sometimes left to right. Then, just to really mess with historians, it changes direction mid-page, like the author couldn't decide, or didn't want you to follow along too easily. Here's the twist that nobody talks about. When Hungarian scholars first examined it, they didn't just say, "We can't read this." They called it a forgery and buried it in an archive for decades. Think about that. The official response to something unexplainable was to hide it. One researcher spent over 30 years of his life trying to decode it. He died having translated exactly 0 confirmed words. 0. Some linguists believe the codex is written in an ancient form of Romanian. Others say it's a completely invented language, a personal cipher built by one man to protect knowledge too dangerous to share openly. And a few historians believe it documents a civilization that existed before recorded European history, a civilization we erased. The book is still sitting in Budapest, still sealed in academic silence, still waiting. Number 3, the Indus script, a dead language from a civilization that shouldn't have existed. 4,000 years ago, there was a civilization larger than ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. Bigger cities, better sewage systems, more advanced urban planning, and we know almost nothing about them. The Indus Valley civilization stretched across what is now Pakistan and northwest India. At its peak, over 5 million people called it home. 5 million people, thriving, building, writing. And then, they vanished. They left behind thousands of small stone seals, each one carved with symbols, animals, wild geometric shapes, mysterious figures. A script so precise, so deliberate, that it had to mean something critical. Trade records, religious texts, laws, names of kings. Nobody knows which. Here's what makes this truly unsettling. The Indus script has been studied for over 100 years. Over 400 distinct symbols have been identified, and not a single word has been confirmed decoded. Not one word. Every other ancient civilization left us a key, a bilingual inscription, a translated tablet, something. The Indus people left us nothing. It's like they knew we'd come looking and deliberately locked the door. Some researchers believe the script reads from right to left. Others say it's not even a language, just a complex symbol system for tracking goods. But here's the detail that keeps historians awake at night. The civilization didn't collapse from invasion or famine. The cities were simply abandoned, orderly, quietly, all at once. 5 million people walked away. Yeah, and took every answer with them. Number 4. The Phaistos disc, the world's first printed message that nobody can read. In 1908, on the island of Crete, archaeologists were digging through the ruins of an ancient Minoan palace. They expected pottery, coins, maybe some jewelry. What they found instead stopped everyone cold. A circular clay disc, about 6 inches wide, covered on both sides with 241 symbols, stamped in a perfect spiral pattern moving from the outside edge all the way to the center. It was organized, intentional, beautiful, and absolutely impossible to understand. Here's the detail that genuinely disturbs historians. The symbols weren't carved by hand. They were stamped, pressed into the clay using individual pre-made seals. That means whoever created this disc had invented a primitive printing system. In 1700 BC, Gutenberg invented the printing press in 1440 AD. Someone beat him by over 3,000 years. 45 distinct symbols have been identified on the disc. Figures of people, birds, tools, a mysterious helmeted head that appears more than any other symbol. Is it a king, a god, a warning? Nobody agrees. Every serious attempt at translation has produced a completely different result. One scholar said it was a prayer, another said it was a military document, a third said it was a calendar. They were all using the same disc. And here's the quiet detail that makes this deeply strange. The Phaistos disc is completely unique. No other artifact like it has ever been found anywhere on Earth. Not a fragment, not a copy, not even a similar symbol. One message, one disc, one chance to understand. And we've had over 100 years. Still nothing. Number 5. The Rongorongo script. The last voice of a dying civilization. On a tiny, windswept island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, there are wooden tablets covered in a script no living person can read. The last people who could were deliberately killed. Easter Island, 1722. European explorers arrived to find a civilization already on its knees. Giant stone statues staring silently at the horizon. A people broken, scattered, barely surviving. Among the wreckage, wooden tablets covered in intricate flowing symbols. Birds, fish, geometric shapes. Human figures frozen mid-ritual. The islanders called it Rongorongo. Roughly translated, chanting lines that speak. Here's the part that genuinely hurts. In 1862, Peruvian slave raiders stormed Easter Island. They kidnapped over 1,400 people, including every single elder, priest, and scholar who knew how to read Rongorongo. Every last one, gone overnight. When survivors were eventually returned to the island, only a handful came back alive, sick, broken, barely breathing. And every person who could decode those tablets died on a slave ship in the Pacific. In one single raid, humanity lost the key to an entire written language, forever. Researchers have identified 120 surviving tablets scattered across museums worldwide. Every translation attempt has failed because the last living teacher didn't die of old age or forgotten history. They were taken. Someone didn't just erase this language. They erased the people who carried it. And the tablets remain, beautiful, intact, and absolutely silent, chanting lines that speak to no one. 5 manuscripts, 5 civilizations, 5 secrets history buried, some by time, some by accident, and some on purpose. The real mystery isn't whether we'll ever decode these texts. The real mystery is, what are we so afraid of finding? That's all for today. If you made it this far, you're exactly the kind of person this channel exists for. Subscribe, hit the bell, and stay curious, because the darkest chapters of history are always the ones they forgot to burn.